Good morning, Pammy. You can go to either one. It don't matter. Hey, Danielle. Hold on a second. We're getting everything just in. Hey, Jim.
Morning, just Jim. Morning, Bug. Morning, Pammy.
Hey, Eli.
Oh my God, Eli did make
Hey,
it.
Sid. Hey, Nicole. Give me a second. We're just getting everything all situated. Hey, Shrimp Shack. How are you? Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Give me 1 second. I gotta start the blog talk radio. We're getting it. We're getting it. How is everybody doing? What's going on? Why does it seem so? Oh, I gotta turn on my light. My light. My light. That's loud. My computer is not liking me this morning. Hey, Joanne. Good morning, everybody out there in Blog Talk Radio, Facebook, YouTube, D-Live, Twitch, Mixer, everywhere. What is going on? I hope all is well with all of you. It's very hot this week here, Pammy. Here too, yeah. It is definitely. Oh, that's why. Okay. A hot one this week. I don't know. I've been sweating my butt off, and it's so weird because Oh, really, Danielle? Nice. Hey, Ron. Yeah, it's. Hey, Freaky Geek. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning to everybody I missed.
Eddie is not awake yet, so we'll go ahead and just switch this over. Let me.
Well, about 12 and a half hours streaming yesterday.
Yeah, that's true. Oh no, what's going on? Is your OBS up, babe? Click on your OBS real quick. See what there it goes. There it goes. All right, click off of it now.
What the hell am I doing?
Eddie is very tired, so give him a. Oh, it went off again. What the hell's going on?
How the hell do I know?
Why is it doing that? I'm not even showing myself. There we go. Good morning. It's a rough start this morning. I don't know what's going on with it. We'll just take it out. I guess you guys are just going to have to deal with our faces today.
Oh, God, no.
And not chat. It's just the demons. That's right.
Eddie's not waking up today.
All he's done all morning since he woke up is yawn. So that's going to be the whole show today, him yawning. Oh, good morning, everybody. How is everybody?
Tired.
Yes, we know you're tired. How are you doing, Eli? You tired?
Nicole's right.
Oh, no. What happened to your pick, Ron?
Huh?
Ron don't have a pick in D-Live. Somehow his pick's gone.
That looks like the one-arm bend just broke again.
What?
So, bitch.
He's having a rough morning. I'm having a rough morning because of him.
I said it looks like the one-armed bandits broke again. Yeah, Eli, we're kind of going to take a bet to see if you make it or not.
Oh, goodness gracious.
See, look at Eli's comment. Eddie, where's your beer?
Oh, okay. So, guys, today we are talking legends and lore. First off on the show, we'll be talking about some creepy stories that Danielle or Yuri sent into me. Also, we'll be talking, the story she sent in was about the Japanese Bloody Mary. Then we'll sit back and listen to the Red Room Curse. Then we'll be hearing about the statue and the pain doctor. And last but not least, the story of what happens when a person finds a diary in an abandoned psych hospital. I hope you stick around and chat with us about these and more on Thriller Thursday. As always, if you're listening to the podcast portion of this, I invite you to come on over to the live show and jump into the conversation. And remember, don't forget, as I roll the credits, head on over to DLive TV or DLive.tv/Shadows of the Moon, and I'll be opening that chest. How is everybody today? I know I've asked that like a million times. I'm telling you, because Eddie's not awake, I'm like in this fog.
She's gonna try to blame me for this now.
I'm not. Well, I am blaming you. Yes. Should I blame Eli?
Well, how can you blame me? You were up before I was.
I know. I can't help it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the 4 lemons, Ron. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Oh, thank you, Eli.
Oh, I know, Ricky.
That's it, too. And, of course, like I said before, they are doing construction out there. So if you hear some weird-ass noises going on, it's not Eddie.
It's not me snoring.
Well, it could be Eddie snoring.
It might be. I have been known to fall asleep with my eyes open.
Yeah, right? All right, shall we get started? And it's like, please.
I asked if we could start sooner so we can end sooner, so I can go to bed.
So we're going to start out. Yeah, not Eddie or the demons. It's the construction people.
I don't know why that's.
So we're going to start out with the Red Room Court. I can't even talk.
Wow.
This is going to be awesome. The Red Room Curse. So this story centers on the idea that a cursed pop-up will appear on a random victim's computer. The pop-up is just like an image of a door, and a recorded voice will ask, "Do you like the Red Room?"
That's when you just turn off your computer and walk away.
The pop-up will continue to appear until the voice can finish its question, even if it's closed. So go ahead, because it'll still keep talking to you. Those who see the pop-up are later found dead, the walls painted red with their own blood. This story began as a flash animation short about a boy who was cursed and died after seeing the pop-up. In real life, the pop-up is set to appear on the user's computer at the time of the video. The video's status as an urban legend was cemented when it was discovered that the 11-year-old murderer who committed the Sassville slashing, the killing of her 12-year-old classmate, and a video of a bookmark on her computer. So, I did some digging, right? And this apparently started in the late 1990s. It says subject appear to be a small pop-up banner or advertisement of a variety commonly encountered on the internet, like we normally see pop up everywhere. Oh, it will, Freaky Geek. When it comes to all that, Freaky Geek said it can't talk to you if you unplug the computer. But have you never seen the movies with electronics? They work even when it's unplugged.
I'll never tell you no, Cole.
So it's, so we're used to seeing these advertisements everywhere. Rather, it asks the target's single unfinished question, do you like? The pop-up is red in color and features black text. Additionally, when it appears, it is accompanied by a high-pitched voice reading the featured text out loud. Due to the subject's location of origin, the text is typically Japanese and therefore presented at a combination of characters. So, and some of them will say, do you like? And then some will say, do you like the red room? At this point, one of the several things may occur. According to one account, a crack or a fissure will somehow appear in the subject, widening dramatically over a short period of time. The crack will soon break entirely, at which point target immediately expires. According to another's account, target's computer screen will fill with a window with a red background displaying a long list of names in black text. The target will then sense an additional presence behind them. They will be found deceased in their home, and the walls of the room in which they are discovered will be painted red with their blood. According to a third account, the target will see the list of names described by the previous account. However, should the target close out the window, the target's computer will begin malfunctioning repeatedly. First, the screen display a dialog window stating your computer is about to have an error. Moments later, a second window will appear with a message, an error has occurred. Attempting to X out of the an error has occurred window will fail to close the window, while clicking OK causes the window to replicate the growing speed. Then the subject will eventually return, at which point the target expires. According to yet another account, it remains unknown precisely what happens next. Targets will usually simply fail to appear at school, work, or similar obligations and will be later found in the manner described in the previous accounts. In all cases, it's unclear how the target expires. According to some accounts, it may be the work of a third party. However, according to others, targets die by suicide. Regardless as to the precise method, however, the outcome is always the same. The target goes missing and is found in their home sometime later, deceased, with the walls of the room discovered coated in blood. So in additional notes, it says that the early 2000s, a short video animated with Shockwave Adobe Flash was uploaded to the internet, hosted at a Japanese GeoCities site. The animation relies on an account of subject. It begins with two boys discussing the possible existence of a subject in a classroom at school. Later that night, the more skeptical of the boys sits down at his home computer and attempts to research or locate a subject. He is initially unsuccessful. However, it is as if he is about to give up. The subject pops up on the screen. After attempting to close out subject several times, he is presented with a dialogue full of names. The other boy's name, the one in which he had discussed the subject earlier, is at the bottom of it. Then the boy sensed a presence behind him. Neither boy appeared at school the next day. According to the schoolyard gossip, they were both found in their rooms having died of suicide. After the video's conclusion, a pop-up appears on the GeoCities site on which the animation is hosted. and it consists of a black text on a red-black background. It asks, "Do you like?" It is assumed that the pop-up that appears at the end of the animation is a facsimile of a subject rather than the subject itself. So, it also says that on June 1st, 2004, a 12-year-old girl in the Japanese city of Sesabu, Nagasaki Prefecture, was murdered with a utility knife by a fellow 11-year-old student in the elementary school they both attended. Due to her age, the perpetrator had been referred to in the news coverage only as a girl. At the time of the crime, Girl A was found to have the animation concerning subject bookmarked on her computer. In September of that year, a family court ordered Girl A to be institutionalized for 2 years. In September of 2006, the sentence was extended for another 2 years. And after 2008, authorities did not seek a further extension. A similar murder of a 15-year-old girl by a 16-year-old classmate, which occurred in Sesabu in 2014, is not believed to be connected to the 2004 case. Should you encounter this while browsing the internet, make no attempt to close the pop-up. Just shoot the computer. No, hit
it with a ball bat.
Yeah. And do not, and under any circumstances, go looking for the subject. You might just find it. And if you do, you might find your own name soon added to that long red list.
Freaky Geek wanted to know, does it say how the 2 boys killed themselves?
No, they did. It didn't say. It just said that they were rumored to have died by suicide. Good story, Danielle. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah,
that's one that she sent in. Ron, thank you so much.
What was that?
Ron just subbed for. He's celebrating his monthly subscription.
Oh.
He's been subbed for a month. Thank you so much, Ron. I appreciate that. Definitely.
Jim says, my computer don't work anyways. I'll just shoot it.
Just shoot it.
Kind of makes you leery about computers now.
Right? If I get a freaking pop-up. You don't have to, Freaky Geek. You don't have to. You can just follow. You don't need to sub. Hey, Cassie, how you doing, hon? Welcome, welcome.
I'm going to say morning instead of good morning because we're not having a good morning.
Yeah. This is true. So the next one is called the Japanese Bloody Mary. Okay. Now, it's also called Hanako of the toilet.
Freaky Geek.
No, it is a good morning. Freaky Geek over there.
No, he said it's odd how they pop up, but never down or sideways.
I know, right? What's up with that? I hope you're having a good morning, Cassie. So, this Japanese Bloody Mary hangs around elementary schools, okay? Apparently, the spirit can be summoned. Thank you. Oh, that's sweet of you.
I can't read that stuff.
I don't know who that was for, but I mean, I know Ron. It says Ron Weasley gifted 1 month subscription to users in this channel. I don't know what that means. I mean, I understand what it means. I'm just not awake enough to know what it means.
Pretty much Freaky Geek.
I think so. I think it is.
I think we did a little time travel.
Oh, did you? Oh, that's sweet. Okay, Ron paid for a 1 month subscription for Freaky Geek.
Oh, that's cool.
Thank you so much. Welcome to the Mooner Club. If you go over to my D Live and sub, you become a Mooner.
Yes, it's probably as bad as it sounds.
Thank you so much, Ron. That is very sweet of you. That is very sweet.
I need his job.
So,
if he's buying subscriptions for other people.
Yeah, see, Freaky Geek, exactly. He said, oh no, I'll have to start wearing a belt to keep my pants up. You don't want to moon anybody?
Well, you can't moon anybody today anyways. I can't get the screen to pop up.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what's going on with it. I could add it. Probably. No, because my screen, it would be too small. There's Ron. He's over there mooning. And for anybody that wants to know, Ron's over in D-Live mooning everybody. And slapping that peach.
Whoa.
I know. It's a hand slapping a peach.
Whoa.
The fruit.
Whoa. Okay. Let's get on with this Japanese Bloody Mary.
Okay.
I think they make that with kimchi or something. That's why it's.
So this Hanako of the toilet is a spirit that can be summoned, but you have to be either really brave or just plain crazy. Hanako's true story background is unclear. Some say she was a victim of an air raid during World War II, who was hiding in the bathroom stall when her school went up in flames. Others say she ran into the bathroom to hide from her murderous parents. Either way, poor girl, man.
Your camera just glitched.
Did it?
Yeah. Either that or my eyes are just,
That could be. One thing is clear, though. She died in the third stall of the third floor bathroom, and that's where you need to knock to summon her. You knock 3 times and ask, Hanako-san, Imasuyuka? I'm sure I didn't pronounce that right.
I'm sure you probably didn't pronounce the
Learn
word.
Japanese, and then you can say it. Or Hanako-san, are you there? Yes, I am, a small voice will respond. The door will slowly open, and you'll be able to take a glimpse of a schoolgirl covered in blood coming out of the toilet before she drags you in with it.
You said it's got to be a third floor bathroom?
Yes.
What if the school only has 2 floors? I guess you ain't
Then
got to worry
you're good.
about.
You're good. Just don't go in. So, I did some background on this too. Like many
Seth.
Hey Seth, good morning. Like many urban legends, the details of the origins of the legends varied depending on the account, and legends about Hakusan have achieved some popularity in old Japanese schools where children may challenge classmates to try to summon her. I prefer a school one main floor myself. According to the legend,
actually, he goes on and says, with no floor even.
Right. So the thing about this is, apparently this legend hasn't been around since like the 1950s.
So it's 70 years old.
Right. Yeah. So since the 1990s, it's been used in movies. It's become a part of a popular culture, not just orally transmitted or local folklore anymore. In 2014, an article published by NPR described Hanako-san as having become a fixture of Japanese urban folklore for over the last 70 years. The Hanako-san character has appeared in many films, anime, manga, video games. She made her first cinematic appearance in 1995, Tor no Hanasan, in which she depicted a malevolent spirit of a girl who committed suicide and who haunts the bathroom of the school. So this legend has been around for a long time. That's right, Ron. We know, Freaky Geek. Your elevator doesn't go to the top floor. Hey, through the veil.
Oh,
Welcome.
there's TTVP.
I'm surprised as tired as you are, you can remember that.
Well, I actually had to stare at the name for a second.
So this not only has she been around, this urban legend, since the 1950s, she's made her rounds in movies and kind of like our Bloody Mary.
Kind of. Hasn't the legend of our Bloody Mary been around a lot longer than that, though?
I believe so. Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
Yes, TTBP has arrived.
Yes, she has arrived. Thank you again, Danielle, for those. Those were awesome.
Yeah,
I like doing the research. I read a lot about these urban legends.
Well, I'm sure you're right there, Freaky.
Yeah. Bloody Mary, the drink, has been around for eons. That's basically what everybody considers hair of the dog, right?
No,
hair of the dog's the same thing you drink.
The night before, yeah.
The night before. I'm not a drinker, so I don't know this shit. I just like White Russians. That's all I know.
So if you got drunk on White Russians and woke up the next day with a hangover,
yeah,
then you would the hair of the dog that bit you.
Knock on wood. I think I can't say never. I think one time I've only woken up with a hangover.
She's only woken up with a hangover, nothing else. No, that is some nasty crap.
Oh,
right there.
Mad Dog 2020. Woo!
See, think about it though. We survived 2020 at the age of 13, 14 years old. And yet we're dying by thousands in the 2020.
In the year 2020. I know, right? Yeah, Mad Dog 2020, that shit. Oh my God. That's okay. When I first started drinking, I'll always remember this. I didn't know that people called Southern Comfort SoCo.
Yeah, I never knew
it. New York, they did.
And that's nasty too.
Yeah. So, I had, you got to be cool. We were out on a road party. You know what I mean?
I do not like this Streamlabs. Every time I see it when you're advertising my channel,
yeah,
the way the letters are cut down, and I keep thinking it says anal /UC.
Well, I can't change that, honey. I'm sorry.
I know, but it's just like
Black Russians. I've never had those. Actually, I've never had a Black Russian.
It's really not much different than
it's just chocolate milk, like chocolate milk, right?
Well, what the hell do they use? I don't like people who rush. They kind of pushy. I mean, it tastes similar to White Russian.
Yeah, I'd probably like it, no doubt.
No, I don't think you would.
No?
I don't think you did pass the color of it. It's because that's why it's called a Black Russian.
Right, yeah. But I've seen them made. I know it looks like chocolate milk.
Yeah, just vodka.
Oh, just vodka. Then I probably wouldn't. No, I need something soothing in there. Especially if our boss makes it.
Oh, God.
I was drunk off of, normal glasses that they give you for White Russians. I was drunk off of 2 of them.
No, you had 3.
No, he wouldn't serve me the 3rd one.
Yeah, he did.
See, I was so drunk I didn't even know.
And the 3rd one, I think you used half a bottle of vodka in it.
Probably. Oh my God. But he knew too that I was nervous because we were flying out to go see Ryan graduate boot camp.
Well, we also had a 6.5 hour ride ahead of us before we even got to the airport.
Yeah. So he knew I was nervous about the whole trip. So he's like, load her up.
No, Vale, not here. It's not one shot vodka. It's like 13 shots vodka, one shot Kahlua, and screw the ice, just drink it.
I mean, I'm not a drinker, but believe me, like if I go out to a bar, because I don't drink a lot, if I go out to the bar, I'm getting screwed up no matter what.
I don't know, like last time me and you went out with Brooke, and Brooke was buying all them drinks. Even as much as you were drinking,
Yeah.
you weren't drunk.
Because I have to be, my body is like, you're the mom of the party. Make sure everybody's okay so we're not getting drunk. And that's the thing, I mean,
drinking, you won't get it. Actually, don't drink water while you're drinking. They'll tell you drink a lot of water before and after, and then you won't wake up. But what you don't want to do after a really big night of binging is wake up and drink water, because it'll push the alcohol right back through your system.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Apparently I was well hydrated, because like I said, I've only woke up once with a hangover. And the only reason I think I got the hangover is because I was getting sick.
Probably.
You know what I mean? But now, mind you, I can drink. I can put some back. I mean, I had a bartender tell me that he don't service drinks with body bags.
And that's true, Freaky. And also, if you drink...
And everyone's so pretty.
I know, I've seen that. Everyone's so pretty. And if you drink warm beer, you'll get drunk faster, because it activates the yeast faster.
Yeah, I can. That's understandable. Get Belle to root beer, see what she does.
Now, are we talking about
Welcome
the
back,
shot
Eli.
root beer?
A shot of root beer?
Are we talking about the shots that are called root beer?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, we had that one that was birthday cake.
That was wild. Yeah, that bartender was freaking awesome. She was like giving us free shots to test out and shit. Why is it that every time I go to a bar, I get free shots? I'm not like...
You see Vale. Read Vale's post.
2 beers, I'm dancing with a 7-Eleven. See, I wish. And I think that's why I don't like drinking a lot, because it takes so much to get me drunk. Because I always have to be the mom of the party. Like, I have to make sure, because it'll weigh heavily on me, guilt-wise.
Oh, yeah, because that trip we had, we live in Valdez, and we had to drive all the way to Anchorage to go to the airport, which is about 6.5 hours, depending on traffic. And I can't count how many times we had to pull the truck over.
Every 10 minutes, one of these fools had to pee. I'm like, so this 6-hour trip
turned into about 8.
Yeah.
Oh, I tried to be the mom and turn into the drunk hooker.
I love it. Traffic and weather. Well, yeah, nobody's going to. I'm not making a trip out that through the pass.
Not during the wintertime.
No. It's bad enough. No, it is a pretty drive. It's a gorgeous drive, because you got all the waterfalls. We're like the waterfall capital of Alaska.
Yeah, that's during the summertime.
Yeah. But during the wintertime, no, I'm not going anywhere near that pass with it being all ice. See, you don't understand. When I say that Alaska in the wintertime becomes a skating rink, it's warmer. I love it here because it's warmer than New York's winters, but it becomes a actual skating rink. The whole state, the roads, parkway, or the parking lots, everything is just one sheet of ice.
And here they give you got to buy cleats that you put on the bottom of your boots just to try to get some traction. A Vale, that's where that verse came from.
You never look pretty as you started?
Well, no. You go to bed at 2 with a 10 and wake up at 10 with a 2.
Only he would know that.
Got them beer goggles on.
Billy's got them bear goggles on.
She thought that was funny. It was still going good, Freaky. I even actually had to leave after about 10 and a half hours because we had just done our show. That was 2 hours. So I was pretty wore out, but Eli was still having fun.
Freaky's over there making skeletons dance. That skeleton's twerking. Freaky's twerking in D-Live.
If we're not mooning, we're twerking.
Yes. One eyelash falling off, heel broke off your shirt. Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
One boob hanging out.
Got a side boob going on. You know. Yeah.
Oh no, Freaky. I was so tired.
All right, Bug. Love you.
Have a good day, Bug. Yeah, Freaky.
I know Danielle's like, well, hell with this. They're all talking about drinking.
But after 12 and a half hours streaming yesterday, I was pretty beat. I tried to hang in there. Let's see. This is how tired I was. I couldn't even yawn.
Yeah. He'd start a yawn and it would immediately stop. So, all right, the next story.
Yeah, God, boy, we got way off track.
I know, way off track, but that's okay. I like that. I like our conversations. That's why one of the reasons why I do this.
Now, she says she likes it while she's on here, but when we get off here, she'll be like, I couldn't get through my stories because you wouldn't shut up.
I do not. He is so lying. Right? I know. I did click on it a little bit. I saw it, but it was like you guys were ending. I'm like, well, of course, that's my luck. Every time I go to click on, because I saw you over at Abraxas's channel.
Oh.
But I clicked and yeah, you all derailed the train. You see how you are, Freaky? But you guys were just ending up. So I'm like, well, that's lovely. That's my luck.
Oh, I guess D-Live, though. I guess now you can have up to 10 people on panel. StreamYard, 10 people.
Yes. That's since last week. If you want to know anything, I go to all the... If anybody wants to know anything about StreamYards...
I don't even think it was on the tracks.
I go to all their meetings. I go to all their... I'm in their group on Facebook. I've been through StreamYards through the beginning. So I pay attention to what's coming up and what's not. Yeah, Freaky Geek. You know what? Zoom is great. It really is. If I could figure out how to freaking do things.
I don't have any of this.
Zoom is very hard to figure out for me. I like StreamYards because of the fact that it goes through your browser. I don't have to worry about I have to worry about the internet. I'm having internet, but I don't have to worry about it dragging down my computer.
Oh, thank you, Kirk. I just got a subscriber.
Oh, thank you so much, Kirk. Yeah, that's true, Freaky Geek.
You better go on with the next story.
All right. So this one is about, well, I'll just start reading it.
Hello, Sid.
No one knows where it came from. No one knows why it showed up in our little town, of all places. The only thing we know for sure is that it's bizarre. The statue appeared in our town square about 2 weeks ago. It sits in the middle of a section of grass decorated with a handful of park benches that creates a kind of cul-de-sac for the town's mayor's office, police station, and courthouse.
Well, thank you, Sid.
At first, everyone thought it was something dropped off by the local artist trying to cause a stir and make a name for himself. He denied it. It didn't cause a fuss when crews loaded it, and didn't cause a fuss when crews loaded up into the truck and took it to the dump. When the statue returned to the exact same spot 2 days later, the people in the town thought maybe it was a prank by someone in the next town over. The two small towns, only a few miles away apart, they tend to, get into pretty intense high school sports rivalries and, all the normal things. And those tend to produce the weirdest and sometimes most elaborate pranks. No one from that town claimed responsibility either. And the statue was removed again.
Wow.
The next day, the statue mysteriously appeared once more. I decided it was time to go take a look. There was a decent crowd surrounding the 8-foot tall obelisk. There isn't much that goes on in a small southern town, and a mystery like this was bound to have everyone talking. The sculpture was shaped up like a man. It stood upright and had 2 arms and 2 legs. No tail or horns or claws. The limbs were too long, and it had 6 long fingers on each hand. The hand was smooth and bald, with one large eye, or the head, not the hand. The head was smooth and bald, with one large eye, a wide bulbous nose, and a 2 long mouth. It was as strange could get. Some people thought it was funny, some thought it was creepy, but we were all unsettled by it. The moment drew a near constant crowd for a few days before people started disappearing. Thank you so much for subbing, Tamara.
There's Tamara.
Congratulations on your one sub month streak.
You're one sub smuth.
Yeah, that. Duh. So people go missing. Everyone understand that. Despite how tragic it is, however, highly unusual for 12 people.
Here come the lemons.
12 people to vanish without a trace in the span of a week from a town with less than 4,000 residents. Thank you so much for the 4 lemons, Tamara. Thank you. I appreciate it. The statue was put back on the back burner by pretty much everyone while the gossip switched to the possibility of a serial killer or human traffickers plaguing our little slice of utopia.
Was this statue part of why these people just started missing?
We'll see.
Wow.
Those that didn't forget the statue, though, thought that it may be connected to the missing people. Thank you for the ice cream, Freaky Geek.
Yeah, that's Ron. After you give this story, I'll have to explain why Ron just said that.
Okay. Those that didn't forget the statue thought that it may be connected to missing people, and they were written off as crazies. I think they're right. It's only a theory, and I could be wrong. I could be imagining things, but I swear the statue moved. Not its place on the grass, but I think it changed positions. I've been out to see it almost every day, and I swear its mouth was closed tight and its arms straight on its side. I would bet my life savings that when the thing first appeared, it didn't hold its head cocked ever so slightly to the left. I don't think anybody else noticed the changes.
So this is kind of like a Vale's doll.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think people are done disappearing, and I don't think that statue is a statue.
It might not be. I mean, it keeps showing back up.
Right? So that's that creepy story.
Okay, now what Ron meant about the pearl necklace thing, on Eli's feed last night, the way he was sitting and the way the light was hitting, it looked like he was wearing a white pearl necklace, but he didn't understand what white pearl necklace meant.
Gotcha. That's funny.
Oh, it was. Brian was having a ball with that. Oh, shit, Betty, why are you thinking her? I don't need her permission.
Freaky Geek said, interesting. I spent lemons on diamonds yesterday and had 3 left. Today I've got enough for ice cream. If you share out, Freaky Geek, if you're over on D-Live and you share a stream out and somebody comes and checks it out, you get paid that way. You get paid for watching streams. That's why D-Live's so nice. Sorry, YouTube. My feed's probably going to go, meh. But that's why D-Live, because even viewers, the more you participate in chat and everything, you get paid, basically, too. It's not just us.
I don't get paid anything.
Yeah, you don't get paid anything. Oh, okay. Well, you see where it has a little arrow that goes, it's pointing, that's how you share it out.
Yeah, goes this way, like this.
Yeah, it goes like this. My poor podcast people are going to be like, what the hell are they talking about?
Well, they'll have to come over to the live show.
Yeah. So, the next story I have is the pain doctor.
That could work in. Oh, wait, no.
No.
He stopped pain.
Yeah. Since I have always wondered what it would like to be to stare evil eye to eye as to equals. To sit across the table from and break bread with. First of all, this person's weird. No, I'm joking.
Oh my God, Tamara.
This lifelong desire was satisfied some days ago, and the whole experience left me rather shaken. In an attempt to impose some sense of order on what was undoubtedly the most chaotic and confusing experience of my life, I'm going to try and write it all down here. Maybe it'll make more sense on paper. A few years ago, as a struggling new reporter, I had an opportunity, or perhaps misfortune, to be sent over to cover the war in Syria. It was in its height, and our involvement there was going over in less than stellar manner at home, which should run back under those circumstances.
Huh?
I don't know. We'll skip that sentence. While there, I spent a lot of time among the locals who frequently kept me up to date on the gossip and urban legends swirling around the area. One name in particular was brought up time and time again, Tabib Alalam, which meant pain doctor. I asked everyone if they had seen this pain doctor and was pointed in the direction of an elderly woman and her granddaughter. She's the only one who's come back alive.
And this is going to see one person?
Yes. So I sat down with her and asked her the obvious question. Is it true? The translator took a moment to confirm her answer before relaying it to me. Her eyebrows furrowed. Well, I asked, the anticipation building as to an uncomfortable degree within my chest. She says that she has seen things that have caused her to doubt her sanity. She says that the pain doctor is real and his laboratory is a nightmare. Okay, I pushed forward. No, not a nightmare, the translator interrupted. I'm sorry. The translation is confusing. What she said was more like, the place dreams go to die. This caught my attention. Ask her what she means by that. I'm getting chills. I don't know about you, but I'm getting chills. Ask her what she means by that. The old woman shook her head and clutched her granddaughter closer to her side. She says that he steals something from within them. The ones who die. The ones who die are a source of envy. Bodies like prisons. My interviewee broke down into tears. I was reassuring. I put a research. This is written weird. I put a reassuring hand on her shoulder, but in truth, I was shaken. I didn't know what to do. The translator said something in a comforting tone. The woman calmed down a bit. Is she okay? I asked. She'll be fine. I took out my iPhone. Does she mind if I record this conversation? The woman shook her head. Okay. Could you please tell me in much detail as possible about this pain doctor? Slowly and in fits, the woman's story came tumbling from her lips. The pace and intensity of a rapid-fire Arabic made me glad of having an electronic recording device. I had learned to transcribe languages I did not understand, but never at this pace. This woman's name was Amani. She had been a merchant at a small shop in Raqqa before the war and fled her hometown after it became the focus of most of the intense fighting of the conflict. She and her family had lived in the road for weeks, stopping only for food and gas, and that was only rarely. But the human body and mind are not built for constant transit. We require a degree of permanency, no matter how small, as much as we require oxygen. So they settled on a small village in the countryside.
Vale just bought us lunch. Just so she said she ordered some lunch.
Oh, okay. That's nice of you, Vale.
I know, right?
This little corner of Syria had not been touched yet by war. Soon, however, a rebel army rode into the midst and declared the village under their occupation. No one had heard of them before. Life under the rebels was not especially difficult. The everyday rhythm of a routine wasn't disrupted in any real sense at first. But then the whispers started. There were always rumors of a mysterious man named the Pain Doctor. And they are using the Islamic term or the Arabic term, but I'm using the Pain Doctor because I would get so screwed up saying that over.
I'm actually surprised that this woman told her story.
Right? As it always does, idle gossip filled the gaps left vacant by hard fact. And so it was difficult to say with any certainty to the degree which these rumors are true. Some claim that he was a humanitarian. Thank you. Worker sent from the UN, and his unpleasant moniker had been corrupted through repetitive tellings. He wasn't the pain doctor. Rather, he was the painless doctor, so called because of his gentle manner. But darker stories surrounding this figure, tales of torture and medical malpractice, were told in hushed whispers. These were stories of limb amputations, electrical shocks, and haunting screams. Amani waved these away. How was she supposed to be able to sort the truth from the lies? There was simply no way to do it. A month or two in the occupation, people began disappearing. When their family members complained, the rebel army denied, stonewalled, and outright rejected their pleas. There was not a frank answer to be found in the mist of deception. Had she stayed elsewhere, Amani might have passed through the blood-soaked page of Middle East history without personal consequences or noticed. She laughed a bitter laugh that needed no translation. Human misery knows no language barrier. One night, a group of rebel soldiers broke down her door and corralled the family, her daughter, her son-in-law, and granddaughter into a small area in the front of the house. Under cover of darkness and the threat of death, or worse, the family was forced to their knees without protest. It was at this point the story that I could not help but recall a fragment of Alexander's Archipelago from my Russian history class. The universe has many different centers, as there are living beings in it. Each of us is the center of the universe, and the universe is shattered when they hiss at you. You're under arrest. If you're arrested, can anything else remain unshattered by this catalysm? But the darkened mind is incapable of embracing these displacements in our universe, and both the most sophisticated and veriest simpleton among us, drawing on life's experiences, can gasp out only, "Me? What for?" My primal frustration at the family's inability to fight back, while not entirely unjustified, was nonetheless wrong, and I felt guilty for having thought of it. The family was subjected to a long wait, during which the sword of Damocles hung suspended over their collective necks. The potential suffering to which they were about to be subject seemed nothing in comparison to the mystery that surrounded it. Why were they being singled out? What had they done? Were they going to be killed? Horror stories told in whispers when the soldiers were out of earshot sprang, unbidden, to Amani's mind. There was talk of sadistic lieutenants who often kidnapped, raped, and murdered young women from enemy towns and cities. A particularly gruesome rumor about one of these incidents suggests that a soldier had once raped a girl in front of her parents and then forced her to choose one to die. After a tearful minute of imaginable contemplation, she had picked her father. Smiling, the soldier who had shot them both and then raped her again.
That is fucked up.
Yeah. Images of this sort, blood, misery, and tears, occupied dark corners of her consciousness as the minutes ticked by. Finally, nearly a full 30 minutes after the door had been breached, a sharply dressed man with spectacles and a prominent scar across his nose and left cheek walked into the room. He had the posture and self-possession of an educated man who was used to obedience. There was nothing forthright hostile in his manner, and neither was there any explicit threat in his action. Yet his presence in the room was accompanied by a distinct coldness. He gave the impression of a gracious host welcoming the family as guests into his home. "So," he began, speaking Arabic with a slight but noticeable Turkish accent, "you're probably wondering what business I have here." The statement was designed to leave no room for response. They were obviously wondering that very thing. "My name is Syed, though I'm known better perhaps as the pain doctor." He noted the shock of horror that filtered across the family's features in the mention of his name. "There is no need to be concerned," he chuckled. "It's just a nickname. Nothing more. Gossip is such an ugly thing, isn't it?"
I don't know if I'd like to nickname Pain Doctor.
Right? No one dared respond. Amani's granddaughter began to cry at that point. She just couldn't handle the situation. Saeed smiled and reached a hand out to her. The girl's mother tried to stand between him and her daughter, but the man behind her kept her pinned firmly on her knees. Syed ran a hand along the girl's head and spoke in soothing tones. "Shh. It's all right. It'll be over soon." He stood. "On that note, you have a decision to make. I need 2 volunteers, otherwise I'm taking a lot of you. Sort it out amongst yourselves. Decisions of that sort pain me so." The family huddled together in a silent conference. Amani volunteered, insisting that firmly she was old and not afraid of death, or whatever may come. Over the family's strong objections, she was the first voice. The family's patriarch insisted on, with the similarity that, he can go with them. When Syed came back to them, Amani stood to come with him. But before her son-in-law could join her, his wife threw herself in the path and began walking out of the house. "Koala, no!" he screamed after her as the door slammed shut and the two were driven off in the dark veil of the night, swallowed up by the malevolence which had so deeply gripped their nation and plunged into the fog of war.
You know, he says I need 2 volunteers. I guess I'd be in trouble because there's an old saying from the military: you never be first, you never be last, and you never volunteer for a goddamn thing.
Right. It was several hours before 2 women arrived at Saeed's intended destination, an abandoned gray-looking factory. It was an appropriate locale, and they were shortly as they would shortly discover. A small group of guards waved the car through after verifying Saeed's identity. Amani recalled a chill sent down her spine by the first glimpse of that place, within which she was about to be incarcerated. When I pressed her to explain why, she thought for a long time. Because I felt like I had been there before. I felt like I was returning to a stable point in my life, about which the whole world was turning, and into I was about to fall, perhaps forever. It could be my translator made her sound more elegant than in fact was, because this particular observation was fairly astounding and left me with a deep impression which I have pondered over a long time since that day. Once inside, and having passed through a second checkpoint, Saeed led Amani and Kala into adjoining cells. They have been fashioned crudely out of old storage closets. The rooms were unlit, and very little light made its way under the cracks of the doors in the room. The 2 unfortunate women were left to think on their unknowable and potential torturous fate until the following day. Often, in the distance, vague screams could be made out, soft as they were expressions of agony, struck a distant chord in Amani's mind.
It's almost like they were being tortured.
She said they weren't natural. Something about them was just out of the normal range of human vocalization, as if they were artificial or more frightening bestial. Amani and Koala spoke to each other in a frightened whisper, as terrified of guards hearing their conversation. At first, they made plans to escape. Quickly, though, the 2 of them gave up such things. There was just no way of making plans which they had no hope of implementing. Snatches of conversations and soft footfalls occasionally made their way to Amani's cell. The most repeated phrase, which was they managed to pick up, was "Min Fedalik La," which means "please don't." Saeed, or whoever these pleas were directed at, never seemed to head these requests for clemency, because what followed that phrase when inevitably screaming.
No, freaky geek. They weren't saying it was beyond the human hearing. It didn't sound human.
That's what he's saying. It sounds like wolves might be involved. They make sounds beyond human.
Beyond human hearing range, but you could hear the sounds, is what I'm saying. That's what you read.
Right.
But it just didn't sound human.
Yeah.
It's not that it was out of range, that they couldn't hear it.
Right.
It just didn't sound human.
Right. The sounds were closer now, and there was no mistaking the cries. They were distinctly inhuman. They were halfway between the creak of a rusty door and the screech of a tea kettle. That's kind of odd to think about.
I'm trying to put the 2 sounds in my head together, and it's just like, well, that don't make any damn sense.
In order to make a sound like that, of that volume, human vocal cords would have to be tearing themselves to pieces, shattering themselves futilely in the effort to make their suffering known to an indifferent world. The image of people alone, forgotten, and hopeless, literally screaming their throats out in the dark hole at the edge of human civilization, has never truly left me. I dream of them, sometimes always as Amani describes them. From a cell down the hall, not able to see what tortures were being perpetrated on their bodies, but hearing their cries and making intense efforts to record them in a secret corner of my soul. Because truly, there's no one else to do it. Because in the end, I was the one that stood between them and the oblivion of forgetting suffering. They came for Koala the next day. Amani heard her yell and fight, kick and spit at them, to no avail. The 2 big men simply hoisted her between them and carried her body down the hall. Amani pounded on the door, calling after her daughter. She wept and screamed and pounded until her hands were bloody and the two red handprints were left on the inside of the door. They ignored her.
Now, that is the little girl beating on the door?
No, that's the mom.
Okay.
The one telling the story. And her daughter.
Okay.
It was hours before Koala had returned to her cell. And when she did, nothing but whimpering was audible from her. Amani pleaded with her to answer, but she was either unable to or unwilling to do so. Silence was her only companion aside from those whimperings in the better part of the day. Finally, the time came for Amani to be brought to the whatever horrors were awaiting her. Only one man came to escort her, and she was in no shape to resist. Amani walked down the long, dark corridor with echoes of human anguish bouncing gently along the walls. Each step she took forward was like one step further from life, one step further from the goodness, and one step closer to hell. Like the march of time, Amani made her way down the corridor and made peace with her God. Syed was waiting for her at the end of the hallway, sitting in a small room with a flickering fluorescent lighting. He smiled at her, ever so gentleman. Won't you sit down? He pointed to a vaguely medical table upon which he seemed to suggest he would examine her on. She did so. Syed took out a flashlight and looked in her eyes, behind her teeth, in her ears, and up her nose. He checked her heart rate and pulse and made careful notes. The smile fell from his face, and disappointed sneer replaced it. I see, he mumbled to himself. What? Amani couldn't help but ask. What could this mean? What is she to be killed? Tortured? You are not what we are looking for. You're not robust enough for testing. Testing, she asked, hoping to get any sense of the nature of hell in which she had been thrust. Syed's charismatic smile returned. He straightened to his spectacles and stood. Would you like to see one? He asked. Amani didn't respond. No? Not even your daughter? Amani looked up. Murder in her eye. What have you done to her? Syed broke into a positive, joyful grin. Nothing compared to what I had planned.
So did they plan on killing her?
I don't know. He stood and took her by the arm, leading her back to the cell in which Koala had been tossed. A nearby guard furnished him with the requisite key and increased a metal grating against metal filled the air. Have a look, he pointed to her, stepping out of the way. I have trouble writing this next part. I've even tried to convince myself that Amana made it up. That was the distortion of torture and traumatized mind. But she was calm when she told the story, as calm as anyone can be when speaking of such things. She spoke with anger, not insanity. She spoke with total solemnity, but not pathological depression.
So she didn't sound like she was psychotic.
Right. I recall hearing a story once of an Israeli judge who, upon hearing the testimony of a Holocaust survivor, was intensely skeptical. The man claimed to have been flogged for over 70 lashes as punishment for some minor offense. As we know, the SSS was wont to do. As we now know, the SSS was wont to do. Okay. But this was shortly after the end of World War II, and the truth of the Nazis' crimes had not yet come out. The judge turned to his colleague and said in Hebrew that he felt sorry for the man who was obviously deluded. He had gone insane. So it wasn't like he was, the judge basically looked at the guy like, you're lying about this, until the Nazi, what had come out in those torture.
Right. But at the very beginning, it does sound like a hard story to believe if somebody's telling you.
Right. And this reporter said, maybe I'm guilty of the same because I could not bring myself to fully believe what Amani was told me. She said that she saw Koala in her cell, huddling in a corner with the skin of both forearms peeled back and held with metal tongs. Her hands were shackled together to prevent them from undergoing the clamps. The skin had been removed in a surgical manner, in precise measurements, and even had Arabic markings around them indicating the exact time and dimensions of the incisions, and presumably prevent her from screaming in pain, while his lips were sewn shut. Armani says any human being with a soul would have become sick and vomited on the ground. She retched and until not a drop of stomach acid was left within her. Saeed was speaking calmly as this occurred. We're trying to determine the exact conditions under which a person develops infection, gangrene, irreversible corruption. It has enormous practical benefits for soldiers and civilians too, I suppose. We can know how to treat wounds with we can now know how to treat wounds with much better precision. This sort of experiment has been understandably frowned upon, but we need not to be bound by morality here. She's a Kurd, and as I'm sure we all know, they're not human beings. Armani leapt at him and even managed to land a glancing blow before the uniformed man at the door grabbed her arms and held her back. Normally, you'd be tortured for that sort of thing, the pain doctor informed her, rubbing his jaw. But as I said, we really have no use for you. But don't think that means we can't still have some fun with you, if we choose. Count yourself lucky that you're no use to us, he said. Your presence for that little act of disobedience, the madman informed her, is going to be this little game. I'll give you 5-minute head start and signified by a shot from my pistol. If you manage to make it out of the line of sight, my rifleman over here, you win and I'll let you leave. Armani felt that she had been dropped in the middle of a nightmare. The whole world was spinning. Game? What sort of madman was this, Saeed? Ready? He said, firing his gun. Armani ran faster than she thought an old woman was capable of running. Her legs carried her with such a speed that the whole field through which she was running became a total blur. Her goal was the hill, off in the distance. How could she make that distance in 5 minutes? But the human body, under conditions of mortal danger, is capable of feats that are unimaginable to calm men. The seconds were flying past, and Armani was running out of breath. The hill was a stone's throw away when Saeed called out the megaphone. 30 seconds left. What, man? I'm telling you. A stitch was forming in Armani's side. The adrenaline muted most of the pain. She pushed forward, ignoring the burning of her lungs, and was on the hill halfway up. So he called 10, 9, 8. She put on a massive burst of speed and made it to the top just as 0 was called. A few bullets whizzed by her ears, one coming uncomfortably close and clipping the top of her ear. She threw herself down on the other side of the hill and collapsed in a heap. She escaped the clutches of the madman, but her daughter was still firmly lodged in his jaws. Armani told me the story over the course of several hours, taking frequent breaks, but at the end of it, I was the one requesting breaks in order to calm myself down. I pushed through the story. The story had to be told. After a few minutes of tense silence, following the conclusion of the story, I stood, shook her hand, and left. In an unspoken agreement between endurance, we both discovered the pleasantry and farewells were not necessary. We had shared something too profound for those.
I can't even imagine what this woman went through.
Right?
It's just the dude was psychotic.
Definitely.
But they came out with a movie too, though, where these people are hunting other humans.
Oh, are you talking about like what's that movie, guys? I can't think of what it's
It
called.
just came
The
out.
Purge.
I don't think that's the name of it.
Oh, no?
I don't think that's the one I'm thinking of.
So she went down and she actually met this guy. I skipped a few, things. The game.
Yes, that's it, just Jim. The
game.
game.
On the day I was to meet him, I went through because she wanted to meet him. She wanted to see what it looks like, to him, or to be eye to eye with him and be like, how the hell can you do this to people? So finally she was granted a visit, 1 hour supervised, and after that she would stop pestering because she pestered the CIA. She wanted to get this woman's story out there, what this guy was doing, so they she said, on the day that I was to meet him, I went through the standard screening procedure for entering Guantanamo. No, not narrow. That sounds like a pepper. The link's down in the description. Passing through the gates and putting my things through an x-ray machine, all was well. I was led by 2 uniformed men into Syed's cell. Oh, he got arrested. Okay. I skipped a little bit, guys. Sorry. It's a long story. I didn't know it was that long. It didn't seem like that long, which was unlocked for me. They stood outside the room. Just in case you're needing something. Did he say hello, Clarice? Just in case you need something, they informed me. I thanked them. Through the manacled man of the table didn't seem particularly threatened to me. I sat across from him for the first time and found myself rather disappointed, actually. He was a swarthy man of middling height and assuming features. Could this truly be the man who perpetrated such inhuman and disturbing atrocities? Syed, is it? I asked, by the way of beginning the conversation. The clock was ticking and small talk couldn't last long, but it was important. Syed, yes, he said, in the accent but fluent English. And your surname is? Not really an issue here, I would imagine, he told me politely, but firmly. Do you really not want to tell me even that, I asked. You may call me Syed, he responded. I nodded. Can you tell me about your wartime activities in Syria? He smiled. Wartime activities? We have no need for euphemisms here. Mr. Daniels, we both know what you really want to ask. Did I participate in torture and human experimentation against Kurds in Syria? The answer is yes. I was taken aback somewhat. Of course I know who you are. You've been all over the international news for months. Right, of course he knew me. Stupid question. How do you feel about what you've done, Saeed? Can you live with yourself after you've done those things? I could barely stand there to listen to them. I can't even imagine you. You're a monster, a fucking monster, I shouted at him. The guards looked in, but seeing that I was in no danger, did not intervene. Saeed was calm. How can I do what I did, you asked? Well, the first thing you should understand is the history of the Kurds and the vile scum that they are. So he cut him off. Please save me the genocidal bullshit for the ICC, Syed. I don't care what you think about the Kurds. I want you to know how seemingly an intelligent man can mutilate people like that. How does that not sick you to the core? He said it's an art, truly. Suffering for suffering's sake. But not just suffering, see. It's archetypal. I'm sculpting a masterpiece with my hands, battering clay to meaningful forms. This guy is like a sicko. I'm putting words in, I'm laying brushstrokes on canvas. I'm putting words in their order, balancing and refining them to make them beauty. It's what you do all the time, I imagine, in your profession. But I'm not mutilating people, I screamed at him. He waved his hand. No, not mutilating. I was revealing the potential underneath the surface. Wisdom comes through suffering. I'm a novelist with a scalpel. I'm telling a story, and every story needs a good villain. What happened to Koala? I asked him. Oh, who cares about her? She hardly to point. I don't even remember now. She's just another face in the crowd. He grinned at me, and for some reason, that's what sent me over the edge. And I put my plan into place. I pulled out the knife, which I arranged in the guard to have waiting for me. The particular one is, wow, she gonna murder him, or he gonna murder him. With wise eyes in the nebulous street, I drove the blade through his chest and then through his torso 12 more times. The blood poured from him. Streams coated the floor with its red sticky stain. They tell me I stabbed him 36 more times, but truly I don't care. Or I don't even remember.
Or it wasn't enough.
Yeah. A horror soldier, then they got arrested. I began to laugh as they did. They picked him up. I began to laugh as they did so and screamed at the corpse I had just made. How does it feel, Sayed? How's it feel? Just another face in the crowd. Another dead man, huh? How's it feel? That is a messed up story.
A little bit.
That's messed up. But I mean...
Was it worth this reporter to go in there and kill him, though? Because now the reporter is going to spend the rest of their life in prison.
But I think most of it is just from that story. It messed them up.
Well, I get it.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I get it too. But seeing her, that was pretty messed up. Sorry, guys.
That was kind of a little long of a story.
Yeah.
That took almost 30 minutes. Well, I don't know, Freaky. You still might feel some pain after you die.
That's true. Yeah, I'm sure a dead man would not feel at all. Right? Yeah. So true. So true.
That's some serious adrenaline, though. If they say that he actually stabbed him 36 more times.
Right, and him not remember that.
That was just pure hate.
So I'm going to go, I'm going to start this story. We'll go as long as we can, because there is a part 2 to it, but it's a freaky story.
Why do you pick stories that are so damn long?
I don't know. This is a messed up story. I read this the other day and I was just like, holy crap. This is called about finding a diary tucked in a brick of an old abandoned psychiatric hospital.
What?
An old abandoned psychiatric hospital.
Okay.
They found a diary.
A diary.
Yeah. They were urban explorers.
Ooh. Go ahead.
So I grew up on Long Island, right outside of the Kings Park Psychiatric Center, home of the legend of Cropsey. If you guys have heard of Cropsey, have you heard of Cropsey? Cropsey's the hooked man, I think. I don't know. I've read so many urban legends. Anyway, I was always...
So now she's going to try to explain to me who this person is, and then goes, I think.
That's right. I was always a good kid. Never broke any rules. Never really pushed the limits of what was or wasn't allowed. But recently I moved home after graduating from college and just started looking for a job in New York City. Through my college years, I struggled with anxiety and depression, which led me to being medicated to control it. Through this entire ordeal, all I could think about was these poor children at Kings Park and what they must have gone through. Some of them just had anxiety, a common element in today's society, and that's one that's completely manageable. Yet they were stuffed into an insane asylum, which was overcapacitated by thousands of people and treated like animals. Yeah, something that's you think about that. You know what I mean? Something that's commonly managed today back then. Yeah, for being poor, you were stuffed in an asylum.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. This revelation I got extremely lucky has always been on my mind. If I had been born just a couple decades earlier in the same area, who knows what would have happened to me. On the hinge of self-awareness, I decided to break the rules for once in my life. I visited Kings Park and see what it's like for myself. For those of you who don't live in the New York area, Kings Park has a gated gate around it. It's situated in the middle of a wooded area, but it's not like there's guards or an electric fence or anything. It's just private property, so you're not supposed to trespass. And I don't go out and, hey, Satan 66666, how are you?
If I tried to say that right now, I'd be in trouble.
On the hinge of self-awareness, so anyway, they broke in and everything. It's situated in the middle of the wooded area, but it's not like there are guards or electric. It's private property, but I can't say that almost entire high school didn't do it anyway. But I never did. I was always too terrified of the legend, and of Cropsy in particular. Good to hear. I'll tell the story, Cropsy. Thank you so much for the ice cream, Eli.
Thank you, Eli. God damn it, I want a pizza.
Oh, he gave you a burger. You can't see it, but it's a bouncing burger.
I don't want a damn burger.
So I'll tell the story Cropsy quickly because it's relevant to the history, but not really relevant to the story. Cropsy was a legend that popped up in Long Island area, saying that one of the patients from Kings Park had escaped and was killing people in the woods around the old hospital. Only part of this was true. There was someone killing young and mostly disabled children around the hospital, but it wasn't an escaped patient. It was an old ward of the hospital that was living in tunnels and bunkers underneath the hospital. Thank you for the lemons, Eli. There's a lot of lemons coming.
Like how many?
I think 13.
Oh, God.
So anyway, this guy, he was an old ward of the hospital that was living in tunnels and bunkers underneath the hospital. That's where a really great Netflix documentary and the whole story, if you're interested. Since the legend of Cropsy turned out to be based on truth, I decided this was something I didn't want to mess with. Kings Park would just be another broken down building in the area whose memory would pop into my head at weird times. This all changed after college and my diagnosis, though. I know I wasn't diagnosed with anything heavy, but I still felt the sense of responsibility, the camaraderie of sorts. So one night around 7:30, I headed over to Kings Park with a flashlight, a backpack, and a water bottle. I figured I wasn't going to need anything else, but I did have a small hunting knife with me, just in case. Thank you for the lemon, Satan. I appreciate it very much. So I got to the broken down foundations of the psychiatric hospital that tortured so many innocent children, and I couldn't find the strength to do anything more than just stare at the walls. The thing is truly massive. If you haven't seen it, it's got about 15 floors, and it just goes straight up. I decided I had to push myself to the uncomfortable, and I found a window on the ground floor that was open and climbed in. I will say, in hindsight, that it was stupid of me to go in alone, but I had to do this for myself. It was something that I was conquering, or so I thought in my head. As I wandered aimlessly around the corridor, looking at all the graffiti on the walls, seeking the broken down bed frames and the rusted metal and fingernail claw marks that was left on the doors, I got real chills. For some reason, I'm particularly drawn to the third floor. I really can't explain what it was, but my feet just moved on their own.
Vale's going to get herself in trouble with this comment. Did you see what she wrote?
Yeah.
Okay.
For some reason, I felt particularly drawn to the third floor.
Why does everything happen on the third floor?
I don't know. Toward this one spot on the third floor of the
You
abandoned hospital.
Freaky Geek just had another story about the third floor.
There really wasn't anything special about it. It was just a hallway outside a couple rooms near a communal bathroom. But since I was there, I looked around. I smelled the stale musk of the abandoned building and scanned the exposed bricks with my eyes.
What's that mean? Jen from Eddie and Jen. Jen 2.
Thank you, Jen, for subscribing. Hey, Jen. I'm so confused.
I am lost. No, just Jen. The basement is always the scary part.
Hi, Jen, by the way.
Yes. Good day, Jen.
As I was looking through the shattered drywall to the exposed brick beyond, I caught a glimpse of a spot that was just slightly darker than the rest of the brick and mortar. Intrigued, I moved closer and shined my flashlight right onto the dark spot. With a little poking, prodding, and removal of even drywall, I was able to fish it free. A small string-bound diary, made entirely out of loose-leaf paper. There wasn't a cover, so to speak, so I was able to fold it up nicely and neatly and tucked it away in an empty brick space behind a wall.
So it's just kind of like a stack of papers.
Paper, yeah. My curiosity was truly piqued, but I wasn't dumb enough to start reading right then and there. It was dark and I was still inside a supposedly haunted asylum. I took one last look around the place, made peace with myself and the patients of the building, and I went home. As soon as I got home and took a shower to rinse off whatever was left of Kings Park, I opened up my backpack to retrieve the diary. It seems to be the diary of a young girl who was put into the hospital back when it was in operation. I figured I'd write down the first entry here, and I'll share the remainder in the next couple of days.
Wow, I'm just reading what Freaky Geek put, just confused the shit out of me.
April 24th, 1918. This is my first day here. Mama told me to keep track of the days and who I am so I don't forget. I am Florence Blackwell, and I am 10. Mama and Daddy made me come.
So she's 10 years old, and she was put into this asylum at the age of 10. Oh, wow. Parents really loved her.
Mama and Daddy made me come here to the hospital to get better. They said I was sick, and that's why I went to bed at night. Or that's why I went to bed at night. Daddy said that once I get better, the other girls in town will want to play with me. Mama was sad when she dropped me off. She had tears in her eyes like she was going to cry, but I told her, "Don't be sad, Mama. I'm going to get better for you." And the nice lady in the nurse hat took me inside the hospital where Mama cried from the outside. I don't know why Mama was so upset. Daddy was happy to see me go to the hospital to get better.
No, Daddy was just happy to get rid of her.
The lady who took me inside the hospital said her name was Nurse Wilson, but I can call her Mary. What the hell just happened? Okay. Mama and Daddy always told me never to call an adult by their real names, but I think I can call her Mary. She's nice to me, not like that doctor. I don't remember his name, but that doctor was not nice. Mary brought me into a big white room in the hospital and asked me to take off my clothes so she can put a big white gown and the doctor can take a look at me. Mary helped me out of my dress that Mama made me and stand in the middle of the white room with a vent in the floor. Then Mary left and the doctor man came in. Or at least I think he was a doctor. He told me to stand with my arms out just like a starfish and to close my eyes and hold my breath. Then he took a giant hose and sprayed the water directly at me. I fell backwards on the floor from how heavy that water was. He didn't stop the hose. He kept spraying me with heavy water on the floor until I was crying and shivering from the cold water. The doctor man stopped the hose and told me to get up and put a white gown on the floor in the puddle of water, and he told me to wear it. I put on the gown and Mary came back. I cried to her and she just pet my head and let me cry. Mary brought me to my own room where I was going to get better in the hospital. I had one bed and there was 2 other girls in the room already. They were both sleeping when I walked in, so I didn't get to say hi to them. But Mary slipped me back my little diary and told me to hide it so the doctors can't find it again. I was so tired I fell asleep next to the other 2 girls, but I didn't sleep for long. In the middle of the night, I opened my eyes to see one of the other girls about 3 inches from my face just staring at me while I was sleeping. She looked at me with really big eyes and a big smile on her face, and then she saw me looking at her. She turned her head to the right like a puppy and said, "It's time." When she said that, someone in the hallway screamed like their daddy was hitting them with a belt. They screamed and screamed, and then someone else screamed too. And then all the kids on the floors were screaming as loud as they could. I don't know how I'm supposed to get better with all these kids screaming at night, and I hope they aren't hurt but I'll also need to get better so I can go home to Mama. Mama said to write every day and remember who I am, so that's what I will do. After I read the first diary entry scribbled in the child's handwriting on a piece of loose leaf, I was spooked to say the least. I was actually holding a relic from the condemned insane asylum dating back all the way to 1918. I immediately ran to my computer. Surely there must be some kind of record of this patient put into care in Kings Park.
Nope.
I know it was a hospital where patients were tortured and even killed, but there should be at least some ambience of a record. While I could find articles labeled Kings Park patient records, I couldn't find an actual list of everyone who was under care there. Also, unfortunately, Florence Blackwell was a popular name, and Google searches of her name basically led to nowhere. I figured since my modern day technology was striking out, the only way to get through is I had to read some more of the diary. I will admit that I was scared. I'm still scared to leaf through the whole thing, and I'm not reading further than I really have to. I'm terrified for little Florence.
No, hold on. The story she's reading right now isn't that old. It's the person telling the story of this.
The diary is from the 1918.
Yeah, from the 1918.
That's okay. Yeah, it's this. Yeah, the story that I'm reading is not that old, but he found.
But the story he is telling is an old story.
Diary, yeah. I will admit that I was scared. I'm still scared to leaf through the whole thing, and I'm not reading further into it that I have to. I'm terrified for little Florence and what may have happened to her and the others in that ward. And the cemetery screaming in the middle of the night, something was up, and I wasn't sure I really wanted to know what it was. But I'm going back to the sense of camaraderie and duty that I felt while exploring Kings Park in the first place. I felt the same sense of duty to Florence. Her story needs to be told and her memory needs to be honored, so I kept reading. April 30th, 1918. My name is Florence Blackwell, or patient 0724. I haven't written anything in here a while since I had just been so busy learning all the new things in this hospital. Mary comes to visit me every morning and gives me a little cup filled with 4 different pills. All these pills are pretty small and round and white, except for a really big one that she gives me. It's twice as big as the others, and sometimes I accidentally cough it up when I try to swallow it. But Mary always helps me. She pets my head, gives me some water, and tells me to tilt my head back and try again. These pills always make me feel funny. I feel like my head is static on the radio. Mama always used to listen to the radio to see about the war and when Daddy was going to come home. And sometimes the man on the radio would stop talking and there would be a loud static noise coming from the radio.
No, I'm confused at that point.
Okay.
Because when they took her to this asylum, was this after her father was in the war?
I'm thinking, yeah.
Because I remember her saying her mom was sad, but her dad was happy.
Right.
So you see why I got confused.
Right, yeah, I think she's just recalling when he was at war or whatnot.
Before they took her to the hospital.
Yeah.
The insane asylum.
Yeah. So there would be a loud static noise coming from the radio. It was so loud, Mama would scream a little. It scared her. And run to the radio and turn it down so it didn't hurt my ears. I wish Mama could help me turn down the static in my head. After I get my pills in the morning, Mary brings me and other roommates down to the main room for breakfast. This is always the scariest part of my day. There are people all over in wheelchairs, and some of them don't even know they're a person. At least that's what my roommate 0698 says. 0698 was the one who stared in my face the first night. She's been here for 2 months now.
Well, you know when you get a number, you're screwed.
And she's almost 13. Yeah, right? She wants to get out by her 13th birthday. So her daddy can take her out for a soda like a teenager.
Your camera just blinked again.
Did it?
Yeah.
OBS is probably messing up. The people in the wheelchairs have no hair.
My camera's not blinking. Mine hasn't blinked once.
You're not on OBS.
Oh, no, but I'm on your site, so why wouldn't it?
Because my camera isn't through my camera. My camera's through OBS.
Oh, your camera isn't through your camera?
Yes. It's the only way I can explain it to you, honey. Jim's stuck on demons. It's demons. It's the demons. Play around with Mrs. Computer.
This is actually a pretty interesting story.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel bad for the person that found the diary, because now he's got to go back and try to relive the pain that this girl had to endure and go through.
Right, yeah. You get a number because they don't consider you human. That's true, freaky geek. Through the Veil says TTVP ghost. That's right. The ghosts. Thank you for I was gonna say thank you, lemons. Thank you,
lemons for Eli.
The people in wheelchairs have no hair and they stare out into space. I think they're looking at their imaginary friend, but 0698 says they're not looking at anything at all. Sometimes a little drool falls out of their mouth, and they don't even notice it when it drips into their laps.
It sounds like me drunk.
That's true.
Shut up.
I had 2 roommates the first night I got to the hospital, but the other girl, besides 0698, was brought out of her room the next morning by 2 large men in white jackets. She looked really scared, but they grabbed her by both her arms and dragged her away. I think she probably could have walked there, but they helped her anyway. The next morning at breakfast, my roommate was in a wheelchair staring at nothing at all. She had a big bruise by her eyeball, but 0698 said to look away and pretend we don't know each other.
Why would you pretend that you don't know?
The screaming keeps happening every night. I still don't know why everyone is screaming in the middle of the night. I'm Florence. Thank you, Eli, for the lemon. I'm Florence Blackwell. I'm 10 years old, and I miss my mama. I'm going to keep writing my name so I don't forget it, since no one calls me that anymore. May 3rd, 1918. I'm patient 0724, or Florence Blackwell, and I'll be 11 years old in exactly 1 month. I know that because today is a special day. When Mary came in to give me the pills this morning, she told me that today, May 3rd, we're going to have a special doctor come visit and help us. I hope that this doctor helps me the most because I want to go home to Mama. I haven't gotten any letters from Mama or Daddy, but I hope Mama is all right. She had a couple of bruises on her face when she covered up by makeup before I left. She told me that she fell, but I hope she doesn't fall anymore when I'm not gone. I don't want her to get hurt. 0698 and I made our way down the main hallway where the new doctor was going to be. Thank you for the follow. Diardit? Hopefully I said that right. I'm so sorry if I didn't.
Me, I can't. It's too hard for me to see. Vale brought up a good point, though. When they said when they looked away from each other like they weren't even friends.
Yeah.
The association part, that makes a lot of sense.
Gotcha.
Diardit. What's up, Grandpa? Who's he talking to? Our grandkids can't say nothing yet. She probably didn't get letters, but they were. Yeah, she probably didn't get letters, but they weren't given to her.
That's true.
That's kind of like, and I'm sure if Ron's still on here and listening, listened, and I think I answered. Okay, I missed your answer earlier. But when it comes to letters and that, there was mail every day in boot camp.
Right.
You didn't get it every day.
Right.
If one person messed up during the day, nobody was getting mail. Well, because I just asked Vale if she had watched that video again yet.
Okay. So she says 0698, and I made our way down to the main hallway where the new doctor was going to be. I was pretty tired since the screaming lasted an extra long time last night. And early in the morning, the two men in white jackets came to bring me back to the room where I got blasted with the water. This happens every couple of days, and I'm getting good at not falling anymore. I don't even cry when the water accidentally leaves bruises on me. We got to the main hall in 0698, and I sat down in the back while all the nurses and doctors were up front with the patients in the wheelchairs. There's a little stage set up, and the doctors had a patient in the chair in front of him. He said his name was Dr. Freeman, and he came all the way from Pennsylvania to help us. Technically, he's still in doctor school, he said, but I think he can be called doctor anyway. Dr. Freeman said he was sad to see all the patients like us being so sad and sick, and he created a way to help us get better. He said he was the only one who has done it so far, but it was very popular once he graduated. It will be very popular once he graduates from doctor school.
Oh my God, freaky.
Dr. Freeman used a bunch of big words that I don't know, but I did hear one I would recognize: brain. After a big show of Dr. Freeman talking with big words, he took up an ice pick and moved it to the head of the patient strapped down on the stage. In one motion, he shoved the ice pick into her eye and wiggled it around. I lost my breakfast right there, and Mary had to bring me back to my room. But on the way back, all I could hear were screams and clapping. Dr. Freeman had made the patient better by hurting her? That doesn't make sense to me, but hopefully I'll find out what happened when I meet Dr. Freeman tomorrow.
Now, he pushed what? Where?
An ice pick
into her eye.
Yes.
Are they doing a lobotomy?
That's what it sounds like. I'll be 11 in 1 month exactly, and I hope Dr. Freeman can make me feel better soon so I can go home to my mama. After reading about Florence's latest entries, I was chilled to my core. I knew that lobotomies were a part of life at that time, and especially a part of life in the mental health community. But that didn't make it less jarring to read, especially from the perspective of a 10-year-old girl. What kind of mental health facility forces its patients to sit and watch a lobotomy being performed by a man in an ice pick?
Why would you blame the hospital? What the hell kind of father would send her 10-year-old to a friggin' mental institution?
Right. This man was literally injuring people permanently for the rest of their lives, and everyone thought it was great because it turns patients into less violent types of patients.
Come at my eye with an ice pick, and we're going to find out how non-violent I am.
I decided to do a little bit of research on the history of lobotomies, and it looks like the procedure wasn't even normalized until a couple of years later, which means this entire situation was completely experimental.
This is just messed up.
The man didn't even have a medical license and didn't have a clue what he was doing. He was essentially just sticking a sharp object into someone's eye socket and wiggling it around until the connections between the prefrontal lobe and the brain were severed. The more I thought about the procedure being done in front of the audience, the more I wanted to lose my lunch. Before reading any further, though, I wanted to do a little bit more research into who Florence was, and if we know who she was at all. If I couldn't find anything online. I figured there must be some kind of written record that hasn't made its way to the internet yet. So I went to my local library. We have a historian that works there, and I made an appointment. And I brought Florence's diary for her to evaluate. I didn't want to exactly say that I found the journal while trespassing in Kings Park's grounds.
Well, exactly. How do you explain this?
So I said it was a family heirloom of sorts, and I wanted to know more about who wrote it. Immediately, she was intrigued, and after a little bit of ruffling through big bookcases behind her desk, brought out a registry of people and families that lived on the area the same time Florence would have been there.
Well, Freaky, if you got the part, he wasn't even a licensed doctor.
No, he was still in doctor school.
So I think it's more along the lines of he had no clue what he was doing.
This was a jump because as far as we know, Florence wasn't local. She could have been brought here from almost anywhere. We searched and searched the book for a birth record or something to prove that Florence existed. And we actually almost missed it. There was a small entry from 1908, and all it said...
Hello, Lunar.
Hey, Lunar. All it said was that William and Margaret Blackwell had given birth to a baby girl named Unknown. That must have been them. It had to be them. Sure enough, there was a World War I draft registration card for William, and they were from a couple towns over.
No, because a lot of times, if I'm not mistaken, if you're going to put somebody in an insane asylum, they're nowhere as close to where they actually live.
Yeah.
Because if they get out, they don't know where to go.
Right, yeah. There were many similarities to be a coincidence. I was convinced this had to be Florence. I'm not exactly proud of what I did next, but I stalked the Blackwell family on Ancestry.com. And let me tell you, there are hundreds of people in the Long Island area with that last name of Blackwell. But after a cute couple of sleepless nights making the best of my college-educated research skills, I found them. With butterflies in my stomach, I sent a Facebook message to what seemed to be a family member. I'm withholding names for a reason because I don't want anybody to bother him. He was a typical old guy on Facebook sharing memes about President Trump and clickbait ads, asking for thoughts and prayers. And I really didn't think he was going to answer me, but he did. William and Margaret were his great-grandparents. And their daughter, Eleanor, was his grandmother. She was born in 1919 and apparently had a hard life. Her father was an abusive drunk who came home with a shell shock after the Great War. Her mother was too submissive to say anything and took the brunt of his anger to protect her daughter. Eleanor grew up thinking she was the oldest and only in her family, but on her mother's deathbed in 1929, when Eleanor was only 10, she confessed that Eleanor wasn't the oldest, that there was a daughter before her with a physical deformity that William had taken most of his anger out on.
So did he think that maybe when she was born, she was going to be kind of the same way? And that's why he wanted to dump her at the insane asylum?
No, Eleanor was her sister. Remember, we're talking about Florence. Florence was the one in the institution.
Right.
Eleanor was born 10 years later.
Oh.
And found out on her mom's deathbed at 10 years old that she was a younger
She
sibling.
thought she was the oldest.
Yeah, she thought she was the only child.
Okay. The way I was understanding it, I had it backwards. Do you know what I mean?
Right. So Eleanor was only 10. She confessed that Eleanor wasn't the oldest. There was a daughter before her, one with a physical deformity that William had taken his anger out on. This physical deformity actually makes a lot of sense in context of the next entry she had written. She used to wet the bed, and William couldn't stand to look at her in the face. Eventually, he tucked her away at a mental hospital, and that's all she knew. Margaret had never seen her daughter again. Well, that was a lot of information to share with a stranger through Facebook. I think it was probably information that this man wanted to get off his chest. Imagine a family secret like that, just burning a hole inside your memory. I offered him to let him see the diary once I was done doing some research and figure out what happened, and he agreed, because he also wanted to know exactly what happened to Florence, and to figure out with me, or it figured with me being a bit younger, I knew my way around a computer and the internet, so I decided to keep plugging along, sharing Florence's story. And I'll read this entry, and then that'll be probably the last one of the day. May 4th, 1918. I met Dr. Freeman today. He kept poking my face. Usually that makes me mad. Daddy used to poke me in my face and try to make me look normal, he said. But I didn't mind when Dr. Freeman did it. He was a doctor after all. Maybe he really could make me look normal so that I'd be pretty like Mama. He asked me a whole bunch of questions, like did I ever get mad or did I ever hit my mama or daddy? I said, of course not. I wouldn't hurt my mama, but I think he thought I was lying. All right, Mary, take care, hon. Thanks for stopping in.
Have a good day, Mary.
He kept writing a bunch of stuff down on his notebook. He writes way faster than me, but probably because he's an adult and I know and knows a lot of stuff. Dr. Freeman kept asking me if I had a pet. And I told him about my bunny and how she ran away with her other bunny friends. But Dr. Freeman didn't seem happy about that and wrote more stuff in his pad. He asked me if I had ever started fires, and I said, of course not. There was a fire down the street from my house that killed a lot of people back when I was 9. Then he asked about my wetting my bed. I told him that that's why I was here. I had to fix my problem so I can go home to Mama and Daddy. And Daddy won't be mad at me anymore. He said that he thought I wet the bed because I was just like some other bad children he met at other hospitals and made them not be violent anymore. And he said he could do the same thing for me. I don't think I'm violent, but if Dr. Freeman says it could happen, maybe it could happen. Maybe I could turn out to be like Daddy instead of Mama.
Lisa, have a good day.
Hey, Lisa, I'm sorry I missed you, hon. I didn't even see you come in.
I said hi to her a long
I'm
time
so
ago.
sorry. I'm getting so bad at that. Take care, Lisa. Thank you so much for coming in, hon. Again, I'm sorry that I didn't see you.
You're not getting bad at it. You're getting lazy at it because it's my job.
I know, that's true. See, that's what it is. So maybe I could turn out to be
As beautiful as her mom.
Yeah, I just wanted Dr. Freeman to make me better so I could go home to Mama. P.S. I'm Florence, 0724.
I can't.
I'm going to leave it off there. And I'll take a poll. Do you guys want me to finish this up tomorrow? Or do you want me to do Freaky News Friday tomorrow? It's up to you guys. What do you think, hon?
I don't know. Because I can't. The pain that I feel for this 10-year-old girl.
I know.
Is just, it's beyond fathomable.
Wait till you hear the ending.
I don't want to.
No. It's like bizarre. This one, I will say, I read the whole thing because I couldn't stop reading it. So do you guys want me to do this tomorrow, or do you, that could be too freaky geek. I wonder if she had Down syndrome.
Yeah, I really don't think back in 1918 they were really thinking about Down syndrome.
No, but obviously her dad wouldn't look her in the face because she had a face deformity.
Okay, I get that.
So freaky geek.
Take her to a plastic surgeon, not a mental institution.
They weren't plastic surgeons back then, and you shouldn't.
That was a joke.
Okay.
Oh my God. I mean, back then it really, in 1918, You're going to tell me people diagnose Down syndrome? Did they even know what the hell that name was?
I don't know, to be honest with
That's
you.
what. And I mean, I'm not saying it ain't true,
Right,
but you're talking a long time. You're talking over 100 years.
right.
So, TV cases back then. But,
So what do you guys want? Do you want Freaky News Friday, or do you want me to finish reading this story?
so Vale says she did listen to that video again.
Yeah.
But she said that she could hear her daughter's voice, unless it was softer than it. I said it was a really very soft voice. And I let her know that Eli heard the sigh. You heard it. I heard it. So she was like, thank you for catching that. She goes, I had no clue.
Right, right.
You could finish this story, then go into the Freaky Friday stuff.
That's true. That's true. I could do that.
Well, I don't know.
All right.
How much of this story is left?
Well, there is a second part of it.
I know. How?
I don't know, honey.
What the hell just happened?
What'd you do?
Well, I didn't do
It's
anything.
the demons.
It's got to be the demon. Damn it, Jim. You just dropped it.
Yep.
But hers wasn't even a mental illness. I think because she had a physical deformity.
Right. Her father couldn't look at
And
her.
dad wasn't going to have anything of it.
Right.
Get some speed for Shadow.
Right. There you go.
Oh, don't worry. I'm going to have to go buy her Pepsi later on.
That's right. Damn it. All right, guys. You know what time it is then? I am going to go ahead and so we'll do that. We'll start the show with the rest of the story. And then we'll go into the Freaky News Friday stuff.
So here comes my part. Fist bump to all the guys. Hugs to
Yeah.
all the ladies. Stay safe. Stay strong. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
You know what time it is. Head on over there. Dun, dun, dun. Type up that chat. Woohoo! Yeah. Freaky Geek said, rest up, Eddie.
Oh, I plan on it.
Thank you, Sid, for the lemon. I appreciate
Thank you, Sid.
it. Thank you for the 4 lemons altogether. I appreciate it so much. You guys are awesome.
My
Really
eyes
are.
look so baggy right now.
I know. And he's going to go and he's going to get some sleep. Maybe.
Probably not.
Probably not.
I always say, I'm going to lay down and take a nap. And then I sit there and watch Shadow take a nap, and I stay awake.
Yeah, pretty much. If you guys don't know the...
Ron would understand. That's the military side.
Right.
Just, you can't force yourself to sleep.
Oh, I didn't start the credits. I put the end screen on. That's bad.
Mhm.
Wow. Oh, it didn't work. Maybe I did press the buttons.
What buttons are you pushing?
Well, that's just rude. Why isn't it working?
Yeah, I don't. Well,
Why they?
I don't see no.
Why
credits.
is it? It's Jim and his demons.
Yeah, I don't see no credits or anything.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe you're getting too many people following in that now. You're crashing the servers.
You think that's what it is?
I have no goddamn idea. I'm not a techie.
Why not?
Hence why I never shut my damn computer off.
True.
I've been doing this almost 2 weeks now. Still ain't done my own video.
Oh my God. Hold on. Keep typing up that chat over there. Keep hyping it up, guys.
I gotta go. I can't see what they're saying over there.
But it should be on the screen. Do it. Oh no, it's not.
I gotta switch over.
No, I'm the dumbass that didn't put this up all the way.
I still can't see that. That's too small of a print for me. So I just go over and I just pull up OBS and then I can see it. And then I just minimize OBS.
I get what you're saying. I get it.
I just don't understand why OBS wouldn't come up.
Yeah, that's weird. That I can't explain. The other stuff I can explain because it's my dumbass. But that...
And she means me.
No.
Dumbass.
There go the credits.
We can talk naughty things about Eddie here and he won't know. Freaky Geek, you are so wrong. Because I can pull up that screen and see it. Just because I'm not able to share it right now, I can still pull it up and see you.
All right, guys, ready? I am pushing the button now. Here we go.
Freaky says, there goes that idea.
Sorry, Freaky Geek. I couldn't warn you fast enough. I tried. Really, I did. It should pop up.
It should. Like the credit
if it hasn't popped up,
ran.
hit on the chest.
Like the credit should have ran. Like OBS should have came up. You know, everything's supposed to happen.
All right, there we go. Ron got 102.4. Freaky Geek got 59.2, and Sid got 43.1. Good job, guys.
Laugh out loud at Freaky. It's fun while the thought lasted. You guys have made the last 3 days pretty enjoyable.
Yeah.
We're actually starting to hit bigger numbers.
I don't care about that, though.
I do. I think it's fun. The more people that get involved, the funnier it gets.
Well, yeah, definitely. I agree. But I'm just saying it's not why
I'm not speaking on your behalf.
Okay, well.
Shut up. All right, guys, have a good day.
All right, guys, take care. Be safe. Stay sweet. I love you all. Thank you so much for hanging out with us again today. I appreciate it. What, you're driving to hit the numbers?
A one would.
We love you too, Val. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Stay amazing. Always remember, smile with your eyes. Find something that makes you smile with your eyes. I love you guys. See you tomorrow for Freaky News Friday and the rest of the story.